Now 5 p.m. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Clerk Seegers, could please call the roll.
Trustee Anthony.
Present.
Foster.
Good evening.
Graham Hudak. I will indicate later if she arrives. Clerk Seegers is in attendance. Slavens. Okay. Snyderman.
I'm here.
Williams.
Good evening. Call for a motion to approve the agenda with the addition of 0A and 0B, recent union agreements.
So moved.
Second. Roll call vote.
Anthony.
Yes.
Foster.
Aye.
Graham Hudak.
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Snyderman
Aye.
and Williams.
Aye. Call for a motion to approve the minutes of the July 14th, 2020 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Call for roll call vote.
Anthony.
Yes.
Foster.
Aye.
Graham Hudak.
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Snyderman.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye. Now it's time in our agenda for any citizens' non-agenda items. If there's anybody online or on the phone that would like to make public comment at this time for any item that's not on the agenda, now would be the time to do that. And I would ask Clerk Seegers to look to participants to see if there's any hands raised.
I see no public comments and nothing was submitted prior to the meeting.
Okay, very good. Is Treasurer Slavens online with us now?
Not currently. I can make a motion to pay the bills.
Would you please?
I so do.
Second.
Roll call vote to pay the bills this month. That's
Anthony.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Graham Hudak.
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Snyderman
Aye.
and Williams.
Aye. Is Stephanie Johnson, good evening, Diane. Is Stephanie Johnson from KKRM online with us?
Yeah, looks like it.
Wonderful.
Yes, I will.
Her a presenter, and we'll allow Stephanie to go ahead and make a legislative update for us.
Okay. Stephanie, I am currently promoting her to a panelist. She will join us and be able to participate.
Hi. Sorry, are you ready for me? I was thinking, oh no, something was going wrong. I couldn't see, or I could hear you guys, but you couldn't see or hear me. So, as you know, things have been a little crazy in Lansing here, particularly since about March when the COVID pandemic hit, and it hit Michigan fairly hard there in the beginning. We seem to have gotten on top of it, even though case numbers over the last month have started to rise a little bit. As we get ourselves compared to other states, we've been faring much better, thank goodness for that. It didn't save us as it pertains to the state budget, though. We've been dealing with that, particularly since June, after the revenue estimating conference in May, where it looked like we had about almost a $3 billion deficit for the current fiscal year, and another projected deficit for the next fiscal year of about $3 billion. So we are definitely in a world of hurt. We had a federal stimulus package come into the state. As a result, the federal dollars that have come in were very specific to COVID-related expenses. They couldn't be used to backfill any budget holes or anything like that. But fortunately, we've been able to utilize that, about $880 million of that, to go towards expenses related to COVID, which has helped us shore up some other areas within the budget. So that went a long way in closing that gap for us. In addition, the legislature passed two supplementals, 5267 and Senate Bill 690, that also made some further cost adjustments based on, with a combination of factors based on state furlough days savings, hiring freeze savings. They took some money out of the state budget stabilization fund. There was a cut to revenue sharing for local governments that was backfilled with the 880 million COVID dollars. We were able to get 200 million to local government specifically for first responder emergency services reimbursement for COVID related expenses during the months of March, April, May. And then the Senate Bill 5267, which just landed, well, actually it's not technically on the governor's desk yet. The Senate and House reported it out last week. We're waiting for it to hit the governor's desk. That extended the deadline for local governments to apply for the reimbursement of that. The deadline was July 17. Now that deadline's been extended to whenever the 5267 takes effect, which will be right after the governor signs it. We anticipate that probably within the next couple of weeks at the most. In addition, there was some $100 million put in there for first responders and some hazard pay with a maximum amount for each first responder of $1,000. Again, local governments would have to apply for that. And the House Bill 5267 expanded those, the criteria or the definition of local government, as well as the definition of who's included in the first responder to include authorities. That was an oversight the first time around, so now fire authorities are included in that, so that you'll see that was changed, in addition to changing the deadline that local governments have to apply for the 200 million. With that, in addition, the governor did some executive order cuts, nothing that impacted local governments too much. It was mostly within the Department of Health and Human Services and some other areas. So a combination of all of those pieces got them the approximately $2.3 billion in savings they needed to shore up the current fiscal year budget. Now they're moving on to the next fiscal year budget. And again, as of May at the Revenue Estimating Conference, the projected deficit is going to be about $3.2 billion. That's combined general budget as well as the school aid fund budget. There is going to be another revenue estimating conference that's going to take place in August. I believe that August 14th has been scheduled now. This is one of the first times in my memory that they've ever had one of these in August, and largely because when they did the May conference, which is constitutionally required, they had extended the deadline for personal income tax. And all of that was going to be obviously in July. So those numbers were not going to be available for that May estimating conference. So we're hopeful now that we have the income tax numbers will be a part of it. Hopefully the economy has come back a little bit better than they were initially anticipating once things started ramping up again, June, July. If we can get some strong numbers there, then maybe that $3.2 billion deficit will get reduced somewhat. We still have about $600 million in the state budget stabilization fund, or our rainy day fund. It started off at $1 billion. They used $350 million to shore up the current year budget. So we still have some left in there. Still not nearly enough. It's better than nothing, obviously, but that is available still. We are all kind of anticipating budget activity to take place for the next fiscal year in September. The legislature is going to be back tomorrow. They'll be back August 6th, and they'll be back August 12th. And then they'll be back full speed right after Labor Day. And we anticipate they will be in for the whole month of September for sure. As you know, it's an election year for all the House members, so there's going to be some hiccups or some changes in the schedule probably in October. because of the elections coming up. And speaking of elections, there's been a lot of bills floating around changing the elections process, absentee voting. All of those are still very much in play. Recently, the governor did veto some other legislation that, Senate Bill 943, that would have extended the deadline for the summer tax collection. That was vetoed. There's another bill that's kind of sitting out there waiting in the wings. The Senate and House have passed it, although it's been largely party lines. That hasn't been sent to the governor's desk yet, but what likely will be here in the next few days. And that, again, is another extension of the property taxes. And so we are waiting for that to see what's going to happen on that front. But in the meantime, I know that bill has gotten a lot of opposition. And again, it did pass on a largely party line vote. So we'll see what the governor does with it when it lands on her desk. I know Diane has expressed some concerns about the bill, and so we're monitoring that and watching that as well. With that, those are the major highlights of what's been going on. And again, everything's related to COVID right now. Everything's related to the budget. That's sucking all the wind out of everything. It's a pretty big problem. We still don't, whether schools will start back face-to-face instruction is still a question mark. It's being largely left up to the districts, and it seems like each day more and more districts are announcing that at least maybe the first 9 weeks they're going to continue the at-home format, or some schools are doing a hybrid of at-home and online. So there's still a lot of unknowns going into this. We're waiting for Congress to pass and appropriate some more federal stimulus dollars for the states impacted by COVID. The governor was she had a press conference today about that, urging Congress to act. We don't know when that's going to happen. I know early on that they were hopeful that this would be done by June and then July, and now obviously sometime August. I do think it will happen sometime in August, but it's certainly not going to be anytime real soon. And that will play a huge role in what kind of cuts will be coming down the pipe as well when it comes to September. As you know, the fiscal year ends the end of September. The next fiscal year begins October 1 for the state of Michigan. So they have to get something done by the last day of September in order for us to have a balanced budget, which is constitutionally required. I am open for any questions anybody might have for me.
Are there any staff or questions for Stephanie? Go ahead, Stephen.
Just a very basic question. $3 billion deficit. What's the base that is against? What percentage of the overall budget is that?
Well, when we talk about deficits, we're always talking about the general fund, state general fund, and that's the smallest portion of the state budget. Michigan's general fund balance is about 10 billion to 11 billion a year. So you're running that up against that number. So it's a pretty huge hit. And the other side of this is everything that has federal dollars attached to it generally requires some sort of state match. So when you start taking these state general fund dollars away to, balance the budget and make the cuts you need, you are often affecting programs by the federal dollars then get drawn away as well. So it gets to be really tricky. It's kind of a domino impact, but $3 billion in a $10 to $11 billion budget is a pretty big hit.
Yeah, I was hoping it was more like 50.
No, sorry.
Thank you.
Yes.
Wendy, in terms of what Stephanie shared with us, the $600,000 we've been talking about for this year, is that unchanged?
We haven't received another update. The state hasn't updated any of the revenue sharing estimates since their May revenue estimating conference. So since they're having another one in August, I would expect some sort of revision after that meeting. The 600,000 was the constitutional piece of it. There's the extra 100,000 or so that's going to impact Canton from the statutory piece of it that we will not receive for August, that the state already had talked about not giving out. So it's about a $700,000 impact to Canton.
All right, and then the other question I had was with the extension of the deadlines for the filings, I know everything that we could apply for, we've been applying for on time, which I appreciate. By extending the deadlines, is there an opportunity for us to throw the net out further to include new items or resubmit, or are we all done?
At this point in time, Stephanie, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Basically, they extended it because they're allowing these authorities to now apply for it who are not included in the original bill. So basically what that does is that makes more people with the same pot of money. If they already said if there's money left after this first round, we could apply for reimbursements for June and July payments as well. So right now we've applied for what we can.
Yeah.
We're waiting to see.
That's absolutely correct. Again, if there is money left over in the pot after the first round, then they are required to put it up for a new bidding process for those June and July months.
Anne Marie, yes, please.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks for your presentation and your summary, Stephanie. I was just wondering, I was looking at your list that you presented of some of the bills that are going before the governor. Is there anything that you think that you're not seeing move, which you're really concerned about that would affect us?
Not offhand at the moment. It's been kind of a squirrely time. Like I said, when they come in for a day or two, they're mostly doing COVID-related legislation. For instance, one example is whenever they declare a state of emergency and they brought in a healthcare professional scope of practice, that they would hold them harmless or give them immunity. Those kind of bills are things that they're working on. At the moment, I expect in September, other than the budget, that's when they're going to start prioritizing what they're going to take on and where they're going to prioritize non-COVID related bills. It's been, how do I put this? Non-COVID bills are definitely going to move, but the legislative clock has substantially changed. We lost a lot of legislative time over the past 4 months. And so when you're talking about going back once they get back into September, you've got the months of September, likely very little happening in October with the elections. Then you have about a week after they return from the November election, and then you're into the Thanksgiving break, which is about a 2 week, starting November 15th through Thanksgiving. So then you're looking at about 2 to 3 weeks in December. If they go 3 weeks in December, that gives you 9 days to to move legislation. So the priority list is shifting continually because a lot of things they thought they were going to be able to accomplish and get done just simply aren't going to be possible now because they've lost so much time. So it's kind of, you're sort of shooting darts at a moving target right now and trying to determine what bills are going to be prioritized that are not COVID related or budget related going into the rest of this session. We probably have, maybe 20, maybe 25 days of session left for the year. It's going to be a very tight time clock.
Thank you.
Diane, please.
Sorry about that. I just wanted to thank Stephanie. I know after, mailing out taxes, there were some pieces of legislation they were trying to pass, and you were really good about keeping up with it and listening in on the committee sessions and that. So I do appreciate all of your help.
Thank you very, very much.
Keeping us updated on all these other pieces of legislation. Thank you.
Yeah. And as things come, make it to your radar, any of the officials here, please send me an email if there's something you need me to, make a special request on or make sure I'm at a committee hearing or that I need to talk to bill sponsors, please let me know, and I'm more than happy to do that.
Okay. John?
Just one question. because they've lost so many days of the legislature, is there any move at all to, shorten the vacation time and get back to work instead of taking all this additional time off? They need to be there in Lansing doing the people's work, and here they are goofing off on vacations.
Well, to be honest with you, some of it I think is budget related. There's a lack of desire to move a lot until we know what the fiscal outlook is going to be, frankly. And then you combine it with a presidential election year and a House election year, it gets pretty complicated quick. But I think a lot of what you're seeing is just the unknown of what schools are going to do, the unknown of the caseloads of the COVID situation, and then you have the fiscal side of it. And so there's been just a lot of caution put into the legislature and how they want to proceed and move forward.
Summer, yes, please.
Hey, Stephanie. Last month we saw some police reform bills make it through the implicit bias training. And I know the calendar isn't in our favor, but is there talk of any more legislation along those lines that you see passing or being brought up?
There's a lot of talk, and there's a lot of bills being introduced fairly regularly. I would anticipate more bills being introduced tomorrow as they're back in session, probably through the month of August. I think that's an ongoing ongoing situation. In addition to that, you have the Dems, the House Dems, who have put out their plan that they would like to see on the reform side. You have Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist, who has done the same. The one training bill, there were two training bills, one introduced in the Senate, one introduced in the House. The House bill is the one that ended up being the bill that moved from the chamber. So it's a second chamber bill in the Senate. And forgive me, I can't remember the bill number offhand. But it pertains directly to MCOLs and the police officer training. So yeah, my long story short, yes, there's going to be a number of bills that are going to be continuing to drop. Whether the clock's on your side or not, it's not going to stop. I don't believe it will stop the progress on that at all. And I think you're just going to see a constant trickle and movement there.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from the trustees for Stephanie? Okay, seeing none. Stephanie, thank you very much.
Thanks.
For you joining us this evening, and as always, keep us up to date, keep us informed.
Well.
Thank you. Have a good night, Stephanie. Okay, now we're going to move into our general calendar. First item up is 0A, which is the recent letter of agreement we entered into with TPOAM, if I remember correctly, is up first.
Correct. Mr. Supervisor, I move to approve the attached letter of agreement for TPOAM employees effective August 9th, 2020 through January 31, 2021, or until township resumes full operations, whichever is first.
Support.
Yep. Do we have any questions of Karine, who's led with the various teams through this? And do we have any questions? Everybody's had a chance to. Okay, Stephen, please.
Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Thanks to the administration and to the unions for coming to this agreement at this difficult time in our history. Karine, I just had one question, is if you could just explain the concept of the PTO and going negative in PTO. I don't remember doing this before, and I just want to make sure I understand it.
Sure. We typically do not have a practice of allowing people to go negative in PTO. However, we acknowledge that as we have entered into many of these letters of agreements, that employees earn PTO and then they use PTO as an offset to the LOAs, and that will continue. So we anticipate there will be some people who have not been brought back full-time, who maybe even new to the organization, that we will allow them to go into a negative capacity and then repay us as they earn that time back. So it allows them to still stay in a paid status or instead of them feeling a 40% impact, they would only feel the same 20% that everybody else is, but they will owe that time back in the future. So that's how it's been structured.
Thanks. So have you looked at it, and in the 5 or 6 months that this letter of understanding or agreement goes for, is there anyone that's going to exceed the limit if they take
We right now have about 5 people that have a negative balance. I think the highest negative balance is 20, and that may have been before the latest accrual of this week. So some of them, it's hard for us to tell because each department is a little bit different. For instance, in the clerk's office right now, their employees are back full-time because of the election, so they wouldn't be using a PTO day. When the election subside, they would go into the same plan that everybody else is in when their workload reduces. Building has been in and out depending on the volume of building permits that are coming in. We've seen them sometimes in the work share, sometimes working a full week. So it really depends. What we did offer in these 2 LOAs, I'll talk about TPOAM and AFSCME, the next one that you'll talk about, so that they're almost identical except for, I know that's an oxymoron, but we do allow them where there is work outside of their department that they would be able to work in a different department instead of using a PTO day. So where somebody knows that they are running negative or that they have a lower PTO balance, Michael will have available work for the election, between the election. The softball center for AFSCME employees will have available shifts. We usually have used part-time people. We have not brought back the bulk of our part-time people, so that we will have shifts available for people who may be on that borderline, but it just means that they may be working outside of their department if their department doesn't have that full workload for them. So it gave us a little bit of flexibility, but we also built in the ability for them to work in a different area.
So if they're getting close to their, is it 60 hours of paid time off?
Correct.
Yeah, so if they're getting close, then they won't be penalized by somehow going over the 60 hours. We will find something for them to be able to do to meet their requirements.
And they can do that before they go to the negative too.
Okay.
So for
All right.
employees that don't happen to be in that negative status, but they don't want to get there, we anticipate there will be a number of shifts that will be available for people to pick up in other departments.
Anne Marie?
Thank you. Thanks for, it's good news to hear that we've come to agreements. It's also good news to see that we don't have any layoffs, because during these times of COVID, we really want to make sure that, you know, everybody has health care, and that's really important. One question, since we're going to be having employees maybe work for the clerk, I mean, Michael, maybe you can even answer this. Will there have to be a training? Because I know you have very specific jobs that you need them done quickly. So there'll be training sessions, or do we have employees that are already ready to move over because they've been trained? How will that work?
That's a great question. We currently have a number of employees who are temporarily assigned to the clerk's office as we speak, and they've been helping supplement the clerical staff here in the clerk's office for a little over a month at this point now, and we had them go through the Bureau of Elections training to get access to do some pretty basic level election specific work. But we've also assigned some other tasks as well that require no additional training. Now, there's been some retirements and things like that. So there will be an opportunity, I believe, for additional people to come over to the clerk's office. We would go through the exact same training process. The beautiful thing about that is things will not heat up for us until more than likely September. So that gives us a couple of weeks to onboard people, get them through the bureaucratic process with the Bureau of Elections, get them access to the system. And anybody who would come in on a kind of a temporary basis, let's say they wanted to come in for a day or two, a couple of times, a month, that we have tasks that would not require extensive training. I don't know if Karina has anything else to add, but that's just kind of what we currently have going on, and I think how we envision this looking going forward.
And do you think that'll cover everything you need by using some of these employees?
Yeah, I feel very comfortable. I have my additional staff, right? So I have my normal staff, typical staff. We have other members in the department helping, and anybody else on top of that. Yeah, that's a lot of people, and I'm extremely grateful for what HR was able to pull together here, and for any of the township employees who would be willing to come and help. We will put them to work, and I think that will set us up for success for November. I'm feeling really comfortable, and I'm very, very happy about the outcome that we have an agreement to bring before the board.
Any additional questions for Kareem at this time? Seeing none, call for a roll call vote.
Anthony,
Yes.
Foster,
Aye.
Graham Hudek,
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens,
Aye.
Snyderman,
Aye.
and Williams.
Aye. Next item on the agenda is 0B, which is the letter of agreement for the ASME teams.
Mr. Supervisor, I move to approve the attached letter of agreement for AFSCME employees effective August 9, 2020 through January 31, 2021, or until township resumes full operations, whichever is first.
Support.
Not identical to TPAOM, but very similar. Are there any questions specifically to the ASME agreement? Michael, is there any hands raised in the audience that I'm not seeing?
I see no comments. I see no chat questions. I see no hands raised. Did you want to let people know
Yeah.
items? Go ahead.
If it's the first time Zooming and you would like to make a comment on an item related to a specific agenda item, while we're discussing or reviewing up front, we prefer to have public comment prior to trustees' questions of staff. So if there's anybody in the listening audience that would like to make a statement or ask a question, please just hit the raise the hand button, and then we'll check for you before we go into trustee questions. So seeing none at this time, call for a roll call vote on this item.
Anthony,
Yes.
Foster,
Aye.
Graham Hudek,
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens,
Aye.
Snyderman,
Aye.
and Williams.
Aye. That brings us to item G1, consider preliminary approval of Brookshire Apartments Plan Development District.
All right, Mr. Supervisor, I move the board adopt the following resolution. The approval of the preliminary plan development district for Berkshire Apartments. Whereas project sponsors requested preliminary approval of the plan development district for Berkshire Apartments located on the north side of Salts Road and west of Waterside Road. And whereas the Planning Commission reviewed the preliminary plan development plan and draft plan development agreement and voted 8-0 to recommend approval of the request as it meets the criteria of a plan development and results in definite benefits to the community. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township of Canton does hereby approve the Berkshire Apartments preliminary plan development district on tax parcel listed as proposed in the planned development agreement and plan documents, subject to widening the eastbound Boulevard lane of Stonewood Road by 2 to 4 feet to allow for dedicated right and left turn lanes at Canton Center Road in accordance with the recommendation of the traffic impact assessment. And we do have a representative.
Support.
Thank you. And just very briefly, the background here is the summary. It's 172 units that are going on 24.63 acres. This is basically finishing out the Traditions project at on Canton Center, and Salts, right? Am I doing that right? Salts. The community benefit, each PUD or planned development district we do requires that there be community benefits. Here, what the sponsors are doing is they're maintaining 49.9% of the site, or 12.9 acres, as open space, which exceeds the 25% open space minimum. And this completes what is new under the new name Cambridge PD. It's consistent with compatible manner, including architectural design, attached two-car garages, reduction in total number of residential units from the original apartments at Cambridge, and connection of the additional parking to the community center that's on the west side of Waterside. Additionally, Salts Road was previously paved as part of the previous Cambridge PD. The proposed layout of the buildings in Berkshire is based on the locations of the existing infrastructure that is on the site. We have Jade with us this evening, in from vacation for a little bit. Do we have any questions is there any questions from the audience at this time?
I have a hand raise.
I do have a screen to share. Sorry to interrupt. I do have a screen to see some of the items that are in the packet.
Okay, so go ahead and let's share your screen, Jade, and then perhaps, Michael, you can allow the individual with the hand raised to speak. Also, is Mr. Galbraith online with us?
I have promoted him to a panelist along with Township Planner Jeff Goulet. If either of them are required to speak, they have the ability now to do that. And do you want me to unmute or to talk to the Berkshire applicant?
Yeah, but first, the question from the audience, if we could have that question asked first. And depending on the question is who should be addressing it.
I have allowed an individual who raised their hand, Berkshire applicant, to unmute themselves if they so choose and make public comment.
Okay, this is Jay.
Oh, pardon me. So that kind of feedback might indicate that we have two microphones.
Yeah. Is this better now?
Perfect.
Okay. This is James here on behalf of the applicant. Are you able to hear us now?
A lot of feedback.
Try one other one.
Try now. James, I've muted you and unmuted Berkshire applicants. No. You are currently muted.
Any better?
Yes, well, so far. Okay, go ahead, James.
Better now?
Sounds good.
Okay, I'm on and I'm here to answer any questions the board or anybody from the public might have regarding the preliminary PDD application that's under consideration.
Are there any raised hands from the audience, general audience? Seeing none, okay. Are there any trustee questions? This is the finishing up of the old traditions, which is now the Berkshire Apartments. Yeah, go ahead, Anne-Marie.
Thanks. So we had the planning meeting. There was a lot of hearings that night. This was one of them. A lot of the people that were in the audience were from the apartments, and there was based on some of the letters that the Planning Commission members received before and some of the letters that were entered in as a record, there seemed to be a lot of confusion about current residents being concerned about new people coming in, renters coming in, because a lot of these will be renters. And what did that mean for their amenities? Would they all be sharing the pool? Would they all be sharing, the club's house or whatever? So one thing they did find out there is that they, yes, if you do rent it, you will be able to utilize the amenities. But it was also encouraged that the developer speak to the different people that live there. So from what I understand, there was some communication with the HOA board, but it didn't seem to get down to the people who live there. And that's what seemed to have a lot of the confusion. So I just would like to ask the question, has there been further communication with the residents at Berkshire?
there's been communication from Berkshire to the residents of Traditions and the Glens through their management company, which is Whitehall.
Okay, so since the planning commission meeting, has there been more communication, or are you just speaking of what happened before that?
That's what happened before.
Okay, so I would just recommend that maybe a Zoom meeting with all the residents happen, because a lot of them were confused and we had a lot of letters on this one. And then of course the traffic impact study, it did say that it would impede traffic at Ford and Canton Center Road. So we have Ford Road open. It's really important to make sure that we have strong traffic impacts, things taken care of there, make sure that the lights are timed correctly, but it's really going to impact the traffic there. And so we have to really watch out for this one and maybe push ahead with Wayne County before that happens, and MDOT.
We recognize the sensitivity to both the residents, and we will hopefully we'll be able to hold some meetings in person. But if we can't, as this moves through the process further, we'll do it by a Zoom meeting. We did hold a Zoom meeting with the HOA at Cobblestone several months ago. Your suggestion is well taken about holding a Zoom meeting with the residents at Traditions and the Glens. We are very sensitive about the traffic on Canton Center Road, and we will work with the county and the state relative to the intersection at Ford Road as well.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stephen. Unmute, Steve.
Thanks. Good to see this project finishing up. I think this is the end of it, right?
That's correct. This is the very last element.
Okay. Yeah, I've been watching it for a while. So I don't know, Jade, if you want to jump in here, or Jeff, I had read the Planning Commission meeting minutes, and then I heard what you were just discussing. And I'm just a little confused about what lights we're talking about. Are we talking about a light at the entranceway, or are we talking about the light at Salts in Canton Center, or the one all the way up at Ford Road and Emery too, if you want to join
Our traffic impact statement reveals that there are not sufficient warrants for a light at the intersection as where Traditions comes out onto Canton Center Road.
Okay.
What they speak to is the resequencing of those lights, particularly the Salts Road light, and down the line to create a better break in the traffic so that northbound onto Canton Center Road can be executed more efficiently.
Some of these will be coming out onto Salts Road and going over to Canton Center on Salts Road too, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Is there a turn signal there? I can't remember. Turning onto Canton Center to go left.
I mean,
there's a left turn lane there.
There's a left turn lane, not necessarily a turn signal though, like a arrow. Or
I don't believe so.
Or is there an arrow?
I don't believe that there is either.
Okay. So perhaps that's something that could be looked at with the resequencing if we need better chance for people to be able to turn onto Canton Center, and then that would encourage them to go that direction instead of coming out over.
I think that's correct. I think we could look at that to encourage traffic to use Salts to Canton Center Road if there was a left turn signal at that location. We can take that up with our traffic engineer.
Thanks. And Jade, I don't know if this was part of what you were going to show, but there's that little gap in the sidewalk there with the private home that's there. And I was wondering if this was an opportunity perhaps for municipal services to talk to them and see whether it's something that we can complete the sidewalk there. It's sort of on the by the Salts Road entrance to this.
Yeah. Yes, we can absolutely look into that. It's not allowing me to share my screen for whatever reason.
Well, I can give it.
But yes, we will. If there's a gap at the completion of this development, we will getting that gap.
Yeah, perhaps the developer can do that for us when they're finishing it off. So if the homeowners agree, and I don't know if there's some kind of purchase we would need to do of the right of way. So
Director Smith, if you'd like to share your screen, you have access to, and any other director for future board items, I apologize for not giving that permission.
that's all I had. Thanks.
Okay, Jade's now sharing.
So it's just a little bit of the overview.
Yeah, the sidewalk gap would be in the lower right of that diagram. That across the road, that private home all the way on the, down there.
Yep. Yes, we will.
If there's any gap there, we can complete that, provided there's, that it's in the right of way and we're not entering onto private property. Or if we can work out an arrangement with that homeowner, perhaps with the township's help to grant that permission.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's good to have that discussion, see if something could get done there.
Yeah, I mean, there shouldn't be a gap there. And if we're putting our path all the way down Salts and there's a gap there, that it doesn't seem to be too sensible to leave that gap.
Yeah, it may be that the homeowner's not cooperative, but it would be good to find out.
I will follow up on that with engineering.
Thank you, Jade.
Thank you, James. I appreciate you making that commitment.
It also doesn't show on here, but there is an extension. Stonewood Road is going to add a right turn lane, correct? Pave that you guys are going to pave. I can't see it on here.
Well, no, it's not on this because this is the far west phase. But what we're going to do at the intersection with Canton Center Road is we're going to widen that eastbound lane so that there's a dedicated and striped northbound lane and a southbound lane, one for a left turn out and a right turn out. That throat is a little too narrow. And the other problem is this doesn't line up with the subdivision entrance across the street. When Traditions was built or the subdivision were built, those entrances should have lined up with one another in terms of their boulevard entrances and the like. So this should help a bit in that regard.
Is there any additional board question at this time? Summer, I don't see you anymore. Jade, if you stop sharing the screen, let's see everybody. There we go. All right. Seeing no other raised hands from the board, call for a roll call vote on the item.
Anthony.
Yes.
Foster.
Aye.
Graham Hudak.
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens.
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye. Now on to item G2, consider first reading of an amendment to an Appendix A.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Zoning code of ordinances regarding the Erie Investment Number 18 LLC rezoning, and there are two motions on this item.
Mr. Supervisor, I move to introduce and hold the first reading of the proposed amendment to Appendix A zoning of the Code of Ordinances of the Charter Township of Canton as provided in the attached ordinance, which rezones the tax parcels listed from GI, General Industrial, to LI, Light Industrial.
Second.
Support.
The property has been used in the past for a warehouse and distribution center. It's currently being used to store individuals' privately owned vehicles. The applicant would like the ability to obtain a broker license from the state of Michigan, which requires a special land use in the LI district. Thus, the need to rezone. The request is consistent with the future land use mix of policies. And I think these are the higher end collectible vehicles is what will be going in there. Kind of a thing. Are there any questions specifically for Jade this evening on this item? Straightforward, I think. I see no raised hands. Or is there any raised hands in the audience? Michael.
I see no raised hands.
And if we could then please call for a roll call vote on the item.
Anthony,
Yes.
Foster,
Aye.
Graham Hudek,
Aye.
Fingerstein, Slavens,
Aye.
Snyderman,
Aye.
Williams.
Second motion?
Mr. Supervisor, I move to table consideration of the amendment for a second reading on August 11, 2020.
Support.
Thank you, Diane. Roll call vote?
Anthony,
Yes.
Foster,
Aye.
Graham Hudek,
Aye.
Fingerstein, Slavens,
Aye.
Snyderman,
Aye.
Williams.
Moving on to item G3, consider approval of the site plan for Innsbrook Apartments.
Supervisor, I move that the board adopt the following resolution, the approval of site plan for Innsbrook Apartments. Whereas project sponsor has requested site plan approval for 2 townhouse-style apartment buildings on property located on the east side of Lily Road, north of Warren Road. And whereas the planning commission reviewed the request and voted 8-0 to recommend approval, subject to modification for the rear elevation, which has been incorporated into revised building elevations. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township of Canton does hereby approve the site plan for Innsbrook Apartments on the tax parcel listed as amended per the Planning Commission's recommendation, subject to all applicable local and state requirements.
Support.
Thank you, Stephen. In terms of background, the ZBA granted variances on June 11, 2020 from section 2602, front setback, building height and number of stories in the R6 zoning district. From section 603 for building separation for multiple family homes and the location of a driveway relative to the building wall. The applicant also received modifications from Planning Commission to allow more parking than required, to allow for ample visitor and resident parking, and to allow relocation of 14 of the required evergreen trees from Lily frontage to the south side of the building, since the buildings face Lily Road, and placing both a foundation landscaping and road frontage landscaping would result in an area between the buildings and the road that's to be overplanted. Are there any questions for Jade on this item? Stephen?
Jade, I was trying to figure out where this is, and I think I know where it is. Lily on the east side of Lily. I don't know if Danny's on here, Michael, if you can bring him on as well.
Yeah, so here's the map of the site.
Okay.
Make this a little bigger for you. Well, that's not really clear, is it?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
So this is north of Warren, right? North. It doesn't tell me it's north of Warren on this, but I think it's north of Warren, right?
And I believe that.
What's that?
Jeff is on as well, so he may be able to answer some
Oh,
questions.
okay.
Just north of Warren Road.
Yeah, can't hear you that well, Jeff. But
Okay, sorry. Yeah, it's just north of Warren Road, north of Coves of Canton. The condos that you see on the map, that's
Okay.
the Cove condos.
yeah, they look cool, and I'm as long as it's a pretty heavily wooded area. So if we feel comfortable that we're going to be able to have good tree replacement, that would be great. But my question is, maybe a little selfish here, is there any way, and I don't know if, Michael, if you promoted Danny, can we connect somehow over to Coppernick, that cul-de-sac up there? Behind it, to the right of it, to the east of it? Yeah.
The
Because,
Tonquish Creek separates the two, Stephen.
oh, there's a creek?
That's the Tonquish Creek that runs all the way through. There's a big floodplain.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because I've mentioned this on a couple other projects that it's really hard to get over to Coppernick. There's no good sidewalk or road for bikes and such to get to Coppernick, to get on north onto the 275 bike trail, and Coppernick has a connection there. So people like go through the industrial park sometimes just to the north of this site, but if there was some cool pathway that could be put in to connect to that cul-de-sac on Coppernick, that's the only thing I was asking. But if there's the creek there, that makes it much more difficult.
Yeah, it's a big creek.
Yeah.
Anne Marie?
Yeah, thanks. And just like, talking about trees, as we know how important trees are for the drainage, to maintain the flows. One of the floodplain risks here we talked about at the Planning Commission meeting is that that drainage area is full of trees. And the developer had said that they were going to be removing trees. And that seems to be an ongoing issue when we have areas like this where the trees fall in and then it creates flooding. So I don't know, just for future, we should consider, when we, because of this, that we have some kind of volunteerism that'll go clean these drains, or at least have property owners more responsible for what's back there, so we can reduce some of the flooding. Because this is a big area for that.
And there are groups in Canton and the region, the Friends of the Rouge, that absolutely like to go out and help clean up.
That's good.
Any additional questions? Some are, seeing none, call for a roll call vote on the item.
Anthony,
Yes.
Foster,
Aye.
Graham Hudek,
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens,
Aye.
Snyderman,
Aye.
Williams.
Aye. Moving on, item G4, preliminary approval of Redwood Marketplace of Canton Plan Development.
Mr. Supervisor, I move that the board adopt the following resolution: the approval of the preliminary plan development for Redwood Marketplace of Canton. Whereas project sponsors requested preliminary approval for the Redwood Marketplace of Canton plan development for located on the east and west sides of Morton Taylor Road, north of Michigan Avenue, and whereas the Planning Commission reviewed the preliminary development plan and agreement and voted 8-0 to recommend approval of the request, subject to resolving the traffic recommendations prior to final approval of plan development. Planning Commission finds that proposal meets the criteria for a plan development, is consistent with the statement of conditions of the conditional rezoning agreement, and results in definite benefits to the community. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Canton Township of Canton, Michigan does hereby grant preliminary approval for the proposed Redwood Marketplace of Canton plan development on the tax parcels listed, subject to the conceptual development plan and draft plan development agreement, further subject to final review of the traffic study and recommendations from the township's traffic consultant and any and all applicable state and local development regulations.
Support.
Yep. The statement of conditions also restricts the use for both the R6 and C3 districts. The project sponsor is going to pave Morton Taylor, provides landscape berm along Morton Taylor Road, along with sidewalks on both sides of the road, and provides for internal pedestrian connections between the residential, commercial areas as a method of integrating the uses to meet the mixed use criteria so that the R6 is not exclusive. From a traffic study perspective, it recommends that the typical right-hand turn tapers along Michigan Avenue and a future Michigan U-turn west of Morton Taylor be installed when the commercial phases are constructed. The township traffic consultant has recommended a right turn lane on the westbound Michigan Avenue onto Morton Taylor and the elimination of some of the curb cuts on the plan shown. This will be reviewed in more detail prior to the final PDD. And I don't know, we've all seen this project now repeatedly over the past couple of years. And I don't know if Anne Marie has something she'd like to add in terms of planning commission. And Jade is here to answer any questions.
Thank you. This is another great project. I mean, it really looked at how we can have more outdoor seating and have mixed residential, a lot of walkability here. And one thing we suggested, Dawn, who's our resident architect, was a little disappointed that we see a lot of garage frontages mostly. And so I believe they were going to work on that with her, maybe even look at different garage door styles. But also, because this is right at our trailheads, we should see more outdoor seating for some of the marketplaces. I know that we had kind of planned that when we looked at the Leos down the street near Haggerty in Michigan, but when we came off the trail to eat there a couple weeks ago. Most of us had to sit in the parking lot. And so it would be great to see some of the outdoor seating and plant areas, picnic areas along the Michigan Avenue, right at the trailhead, and where you're going to have some restaurants, hopefully, in that area.
Are there any trustee comments or questions for Jade?
I additionally promoted the project sponsors to panelists if they choose, if they are required to answer any questions.
We also have project sponsors online. Is there any questions for them as well? Are there any raised hands, Mike?
Stephen.
Let's check the audience first, Steve, then we'll come back.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Nobody in the audience.
Okay, so Stephen, go ahead, please.
Yeah. And sorry, my fax machine's going off if you hear that in the background. First off, I forgot I did have a question on the last one, but I won't, of course, make us go back, but I'll ask Jeff if you can either email me what the sidewalks on Lily Road will be like, because I know there's a sidewalk gap there, and if this project will complete that gap. So if you don't mind doing that offline, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, no problem.
And then on this one, my only question is, does it go up to the road where the parking lot is for the trailhead? And will it pave all the way up and past that parking lot?
It's paved all the way to the north end of their property line, which is at our trailhead. So the sidewalk, Stephen, will be, because they have all of the property on the east side of Morton Taylor, the sidewalk will be along the east side. They'll provide crossovers from the west side to the east side at several locations so that the phase one on the west side can get over to the east side. So Morton Taylor will be done in 2 phases. They'll pave the south half of Morton Taylor first with the first phase, and then when they do the second phase on the east side, then they'll continue Morton Taylor up to the trailhead.
And I guess more from an auto perspective, I was wondering if it made sense for us to pave the trailhead road and parking lot then, or is that something we're not ever planning to do because it's more of a nature kind of thing?
Personally, I like it being a little naturific and dirt back there.
Yeah, I don't know that that's actually come up, but it's something that as this development proceeds, we can definitely take a look at and see if it makes sense at the time. But
I mean, I don't want to pave the trails, but
Right.
sometimes a parking lot is nice to have paved. And if it's all, they're paving roads, it might be a nice way to be able to do that. And then my other question was, I was confused when I was reading some of the planning commission stuff where people were talking about the corner of Palmer and Morton Taylor, which doesn't connect here. I know we have an issue with, I think, or
Getty's. That's what they were talking about.
Oh, they were talking about Getty's.
Yeah, further on down the road.
Oh, okay.
Where Sheldon comes out at Getty's in Michigan.
Oh, yeah. And what was their comment about that? Was there a traffic thing? Or?
Correct. If it was going to just add more traffic to that area and what we could do.
Ah, okay. Gotcha.
But you were like, we did talk about actually that trail going back, and we did talk about leaving it more dirt so that not as much traffic would be there and it'd be a little bit safer for people to walk.
Okay, I don't know what the public minduses are of paving the parking lot, but it's not high on my list. I just thought I'd ask about it.
We want picnic tables.
Yeah. Okay.
We can buy a lot of picnic tables before we get near the cost of paving.
It's true.
Alrighty. Any additional questions? I can't see Summer or Diane. There we go. I can now. Summer, any questions? You're set? You're good?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Seeing no other questions, comments, roll call vote, please.
Anthony.
Yes.
Foster.
Aye.
From Hudak.
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens.
Aye.
Steinman.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye. Moving on, item G5, consider approvals of Denton Road sanitary sewer failure emergency repairs.
Mr. Supervisor, I'm going to read this in one motion if I can. I move to approve the Denton Road sanitary sewer failure emergency repairs and authorize yourself, the township supervisor, to sign all documents necessary along with the attached budget amendments. Or just.
Support.
Thank you. Long story short, I think most of us are familiar with the sinkhole that's developed out in front of the soccer fields off Denton. The thing started on June 26th. There's been a lot of work going on out there. And none of us expected or planned for this, and we are dealing with it as rapidly as we possibly can. Jade's got working with the engineering firm. Jade, I have a statement and then a question is, has root cause been discovered yet, or is that still under investigation of the sinkhole? And then the second one is it natural spring water that's coming up from below there? Because I had a resident call me tongue-in-cheek, I shared with Greg that maybe we could start bottling Canton spring water to relieve some of the water.
Yeah. Well, I can answer one of those questions. The root cause has not been identified yet. They're still drying out the site, and I believe that Brad Lear may be on the call too if he wanted to chime in. But we have not. They're still trying to dry out the site, which has been taking weeks to do. When they put this in 12 years ago, I guess the drying out process took quite a bit of time as well. And then as far as the being spring fed out there, that I don't know. I would have to do some more research and then get that back to you. I'm going to say that no, if I had to guess, that it is not a spring.
Not a revenue opportunity then.
But I will, I can look into that.
I have a hand raised by Township Engineer William Surchek.
Okay.
Appropriate to promote two panelists?
Sure.
Mr. Surchek, if you want to turn on your video and begin talking.
Bill, are you out there? Hello, Bill.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here I am.
Hi.
Sorry. It is a very significant aquifer that we draw from for our irrigation wells. So yes, there's a lot of groundwater out there.
Groundwater, but it cannot be called natural spring water?
Well, natural spring water is not really a term that's used. It's an aquifer. It's actually confined or semi-confined. So there's a lot of water. We can pull thousands of gallons from it. We also use it as a alternate emergency water supply for our water system. So that's all I had.
Cool. Interesting. All right. Any other comments or questions for Jade and Steve?
Just to comment on the budget amendment too, we worked with both of the contractors to get their quotes in, and then we did build in some contingencies. So I'm trying to do everything that I can to not have to bring this back before you again. But until we actually get down into the ground after it's dry, we won't know the true cost. I'm hoping that it comes in less than this, but I think we built in some contingencies to allow us to continue with the project and get it done as quickly as possible.
I have a question. What would be the impact to water and sewer? This is water and sewer fund, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
So would this is potentially going to impact rates for next year, or I apologize.
Wendy may want to chime in too, but when we looked at the rates for this year, brought it to you a few months ago to keep the rates as was for 2019. The cash reserves within the fund were healthy enough that I don't think this is going to have a huge impact on the rates for next year. But when we do look at this, it obviously will go into the equation, and we'll try and smooth that out as we look at rates down in the future.
Okay.
Good. Okay, seeing no other questions, call for roll vote. Roll vote.
Anthony.
Yes.
Foster.
Aye.
Sam Hudak.
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens.
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye. Do we have a second motion here, Mike, or did you do that all as one?
I rolled it into one. I got creative.
Perfect. Okay, item G6, consider award of change order contract to Dan's Excavating for the relocation of the water main for Ridge Road paving project.
And Mr. Surchek is still a panelist. All right. Mr. Supervisor, I'm going to do this in one motion as well. I move to approve the Denton Road sanitary sewer feature, failure emergency repairs and authorize yourself, the Township Supervisor, to sign all necessary documents along with the following budget amendments.
Support.
Yep. In terms of a summary, Canton Township's publicly bid Ridge Road forward to Warren paving project and awarded project to Dan's Excavating in February 2020 for a total of $3,596,396.43 plus a contingency for a total of $3,776,216.43 and awarded the construction of the engineering to Fishbeck, the engineer of record. Based on the location of the water main at the corner of Hanford and Ridge, it must be relocated. Dan's Excavating has provided the estimate at the $232,660 for this work. Are there any questions for Jade at this time from the board?
I have one comment. I read the wrong motion. I reread the previous motion and my PDF did just crash. And I have the spinning wheel.
Okay, well, how about I go ahead and read that motion? Do we have to rescind the second reading of the second G5 motion, or how do we deal with that?
Our township attorney is currently on as a panelist.
Bob your head up and down. I call for a motion to rescind or hold back the motion we just did. Can we do that?
So moved.
Okay.
Will someone support my motion to rescind?
Support.
Thank you.
I think Kristen's trying to talk, but it looks like she's on mute.
Unmute yourself. Advise us, please.
No, the motion just needs to withdraw his motion.
Okay.
And rescind it.
I withdraw my erroneous.
Is this the reason you invited Kristen here tonight?
Precisely.
And there's no discussion and no further vote needed on that.
Beautiful.
Thank you. And
okay, Mr. Supervisor, I rescind my motion and I move to award a change order to Dan's Excavating for $232,660 and approve the following the attached budget adjustment.
Second.
All right, call for roll vote on the item.
Ready to vote this?
I think we are.
Anthony.
Yes.
Foster.
Aye.
Graham Hudak.
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens.
Support.
Snyderman.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye. Item 7, consider approval of award of purchase order contract to Michigan Cat for the purchase of a Cat 926M RQ wheel loader.
Supervisor, I move to award a purchase order contract to Michigan Cat for an amount not to exceed $139,974.90 for the purchase of a 2020 Cat 926M RQ wheel loader.
Support.
Thank you. In terms of background, the proposed equipment was budgeted for replacement purchase in 2020. This purchase was calculated in 2020-21 water sewer rates, which were adopted in April. To help with the cost, Public Works will be trading in a 1992 case loader that has reached its serviceable life. Michigan Cat has evaluated the case wheel loader and have found the trade-in value to be $18,000. Public Works has budgeted $150,000 for the purchase of the new wheel loader. This quote from Cat has been received in the amount of $154,037.90. Total cost to Canton will be $139,974.90 incremental when the $18,000 trade-in is subtracted and a set of lifting forks is added to the cost. The cost will be of the lifting forks is $3,937. Are there any questions for Jade on this item? Seeing none, call for a roll vote to approve this item.
Anthony.
Yes.
Foster.
Aye.
Graham Hudak.
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens.
Support, or aye, sorry.
That's all right. Snyderman.
Aye.
Williams.
Item J, consider approval of SolarWinds software contract renewal for annual maintenance and technical support.
Mr. Supervisor, I move to authorize the payment to SolarWinds for the SolarWinds annual software maintenance fees for a total cost not to exceed $10,380.
Support.
Thank you. As part of Canton Township's effort to automate information process, several of the departments have incorporated the use of SolarWinds Service Desk software. The adoption of the software has allowed out-of-date applications to be eliminated and provided one central location for all employees to submit service desk requests. Software allows electronic submission of requests that were previously done on paper, such as recording, incidents, and finance and budget requests. Annual maintenance user licenses and technical support fees are the operating costs assessed to maintain SolarWinds software. Renewing our SolarWinds contract, which will keep us current with upgrades and updates. And I'll just add additionally, right now what we're doing in some areas is we're loading it into one system, making a written copy, handing it off to somebody else who's reloading it in a second system. We don't have to do that anymore. So this is a wonderful move in the right direction in terms of automating processes. Are there any board questions?
That's actually not accurate. This is our help desk software.
Oh.
Our incident reporting software.
Then I mistook this with another item on our agenda this evening.
It was something we talked about in our meeting today.
It doesn't apply to this.
Does not apply to that at all.
So guys, we've got another one coming at you, not this one, that's going to do what I just said. Not part of you in this item. Okay, so then tell me why this is so wonderful, Wendy.
This is our help desk ticketing system. When there's an issue with IT needs, this is how we report it to our IT department, and it's also used more recently by our leisure services department for facilities maintenance, ticket type items. We had an old in-house system that was developed, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago or something that's just been outdated. So it's a new, that part's a new system. We've been using this for our help desk ticketing system for a year or two now. But because we've expanded its use, it's now grown over the $10,000 mark.
So rather than using disparate systems, we're using one central.
Correct.
Outstanding. It is a wonderful thing. Thank you for that clarification. When is the other item coming before us? August 11th?
The other one came to the board about a month ago.
Well, you've been done. So you're just spending the money now. Beautiful. I'm up to speed with our conversation. All right. Are there any additional questions for Wendy at this time? None. Call for a roll vote.
Anthony.
Yes.
Foster.
Aye.
Graham Hudak.
Aye.
Segrist. Aye. Slavens.
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye. Okay. Item G9, consider authorizing the filing of an appeal in the matter of, let's see, this is detail. This is the ordinance with Frank Polson, development versus Canton.
Mr. Supervisor, I'm going to merge this into one motion. I move to authorize the filing of an appeal in the matter of Canton Township v. 44650 Incorporated and authorize the law firm of Rosati, Schultz, Jupp, and Humsperchler to continue its representation of Canton Township in this matter.
Support.
Okay. In terms of
Supervisor, can I clarify, this is not the Powelson case. This is the Percy Brothers property.
So I'm seeing down in the notes here at the bottom. It's similar to, but
It's in a different, this one's in state court and involves, this is the property that the entire 16 acres was clear cut. If it still says Powelson, that's a typo. But the board had previously authorized the filing of the appeal in federal court. This is the one in state court involving the Percy's property that fronts on Yost Road.
and it's just in reference to the amicus briefs coming from different organizations in relationship to here it does say Frank Polson versus Canton, so it's okay. I'll stick to the summary above, which is, as the board is very much aware, Wayne County Circuit Court Judge Susan Hubbard has ruled that the township's forest preservation and tree clearing ordinance constitutes an unconstitutional taking under the Fifth Amendment. Due to the wide-ranging negative impact of this ruling, will not only be for Canton, but other local governments across the state of Michigan. So we are recommending that we pursue the appeal of this ruling. Are there any questions that any of the trustees might have for Kristen at this time?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Mike.
I took the time to read the judge's opinion in this matter. Is it typical for there to be this many typos in a judicial opinion?
No, I mean, that's just one of the handful of reasons why we need to get this fixed. But yes, it is a very poorly written from a grammatical point of view. It's been a long time since I've seen one that's this bad.
Yeah, I mean, I am making that statement. I make mistakes too, but I expected more out of a Third Circuit Court judge, to be quite honest. Additionally, I have concerns about the legal basis that she used to rule. So, yes, I'm in favor of continuing this appeal.
Dave, did you have your hand raised? Okay. Any other board questions, comments at this time? Seeing none, call for a roll vote.
Anthony,
Yes.
Foster,
Aye.
Graham Hudak,
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens,
Aye.
Snyderman,
Aye.
Williams.
Aye. Moving on, G10, confirm the appointment of Chad Bow to Director of Police Services, Police Chief, effective August 2nd, 2020.
One moment. My PDF has crashed now for the second time during this meeting.
You might want to call that help desk line we just approved.
I don't know if we've implemented the technology.
Oh, no.
Submit a ticket.
It's a very brief resolution, so why don't I go ahead and read it? The model resolution. Is that okay?
What's that? G10? I can do it right now.
Okay, you found it back?
It only takes me 20 seconds.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
Item G10.
Yeah, will you scroll down to see if you have a model resolution? I don't have one in the final board packet.
I do. I do.
Oh, there it is. It's right in front.
Okay.
Mr. Supervisor, I apologize, everybody.
It's been a full day, guys. No problem.
Mr. Supervisor, I move that the Canton Board of Trustees approve the appointment of Chad Baugh to the position of Director of Police Services, Police Chief, effective August 2nd, 2020.
Support.
Thank you, Diane. On July 23rd, 2020, the Mayor Commission approved reclassification of Deputy Director Police position. The Public Safety Director position became vacant due to the retirement of Josh Meyer earlier this year. Over the past several months, Chad Baugh, Deputy Director of Police, has assumed the duties and responsibilities of the Director related to all police services. During this time, it's afforded the Township the opportunity to review and evaluate the need for a Public Safety Director position to oversee both police and fire services in Canton Township. Mr. Baugh has stepped up to perform all duties of the department head position during this pandemic, making the transition from Deputy Director Police to department head seamless, even during the most challenging of times. Therefore, it's a recommendation of Public Safety that the Public Safety Director position be eliminated, that the Deputy Director of Police position be combined with the duties of Public Safety Director position as related to the Police Department as one position under the new title of Director of Police Services, Police Chief. In accordance with the Merit Ordinance number 85, in the case of the Department Director position, Township Supervisor shall, with the majority of the vote of the 4 of the members of the Township Board, appoint a Director to the position. It's requested that the Board approve the appointment of Chad Baugh as the Director of Police Services, Police Chief. In accordance with the merit ordinance, in accordance with merit policy as it's related to reclassifications, Chad's salary would start at a grade 13, step 6 for $127,419. Are there any questions the board may have at this time?
No.
Yeah, go ahead, Emery.
No, it's a good move, and congratulations, Chad. And for the next one, congratulations, Chris.
Thank you, Emery. Questions or comments? Now is a good time to make.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
Well, Stephen had his hand up.
Oh,
Hi,
I just-
Stephen.
hello. I just wanted to also give my congratulations to Director Baugh. It's a really long title, but I think you can live up to it.
Ooh.
And you've been doing a great job since you took over as interim, so congratulations.
Summer?
I want to extend my congratulations as well. I think you've done an incredible job over the last few months. And I've gotten to talk to you a bit over the last 4 years, and I've been impressed with your leadership. And so I'm excited to see this move for our police department.
John Anthony? Oh, Diane, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted ditto comments. Congratulations, Director Ball. We're real excited and you've done a great job. So congratulations.
John Anthony?
Just add my congratulations. No matter what title they give you, Chad, you're always going to be police chief to me.
Very good. Call for roll. Oh, Michael, go ahead.
Oh, I will just echo the congratulations to Chad. It has been a pleasure working with you throughout this time. Working with you has been a pleasure. The work we've been doing has been difficult and challenging, especially with all that we've been dealing with. That said, I think this is a deviation from an old model that we've had for a long time. I think you kind of have to acknowledge that. I do think that the mettle has been tested, right? We have seen both deputy directors running their respective departments during divisions during this pandemic. I have been very impressed, and so I am in favor of this motion. I think it's well deserved, and it's been good seeing both of you at the leadership at the Tuesday morning meetings, and working with you next Tuesday on the election. I'm speaking to Chris as well here, but this is next. But I'm really grateful for the help and the assistance that you and your shops have offered.
You got Chad counting ballots with you?
Not counting.
No.
Just doing some traffic control.
Call for a roll vote. Roll call vote.
Anthony.
Yes.
Foster.
Aye.
Graham Hudak.
Aye.
Segrist. Aye. Slavens.
Aye.
Snyderman.
You muted, Steve.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye. Congratulations, Chief. Moving on, item G11, confirm appointment of Chris Stockline to Director of Fire Services, Fire Chief, effective August 2nd, 2020.
Mr. Supervisor, I move that the Canton Board of Trustees approve the appointment of Stockline to the position of Director of Fire Services, Fire Chief, effective August 2nd, 2020.
Okay. Identical to, do we have your support? I'm sorry.
John, do it?
He supports. Okay. John Anthony is supporting, yes. Okay. So very, very similar to Chad the past couple of months stepping up. Chris, too, stepped right into the role and performing all the functions as the director. Been a key part of our leadership team. One thing I've learned working with Chris is he's a man of few words, but when he does say something, it's time to maybe take a breath and listen to what he's got to say. Very much appreciate both he and Chad in terms of what they've done and We have not missed a beat in terms of public safety in Canton Township, and I very much appreciate what the work they've done. So in accordance with the merit ordinance number 85, in case of the department director position, Township Supervisor myself with the majority vote of 4 members of the Township Board appoint to the director, the director to the position. It's requested that the board approve the appointment of Christopher Stockline as Director of Fire Services, Fire Chief, with the Merit Commission, in accordance with the Merit Commission ordinance, and also in accordance with the merit policy related to reclassifications. Christopher Stockline would start at a grade 13, step 6 also, which is $127,419. Any board comments? Go ahead, Stephen.
Same as with Chad. Chris, it's been great getting to know you over my 2 terms here, and I've always been impressed, and no more so than in the last few months when your organizations really had to step up to support our community like never before. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Summer?
Yes, congrats as well. You've done a great job during a trying time for the township. So I wish you luck in your new role.
Thank you.
Diane?
Yeah, I too want to ditto congratulations, Fire Chief Stockline. You've done a terrific job, and I look forward to working with you.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I was speaking to Chris as well as to Chad when I spoke last time, but one, I do also want to acknowledge the human resources put this plan together. I think it's fantastic, so thank you to Kareen for that. And then 2, I'm just excited because I typically in the past would always get confused with the deputy director or deputy, like deputy director or deputy chief, and I could never get those figured out, and that's been solved now. So I'm extremely grateful for that. But well, that's my board humor. Chris, it's really awesome to see you at the leadership table. You've done an amazing job so far, and Fitzpatrick is here. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Great job, Chris. Congratulations. As with Chad, the same thing. I bet your mom Sandy's really happy for you, and look forward to some more good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anthony, Trustee Anthony.
I'd just like to also add my congratulations to Chris. I had the privilege of working with Chris on the new fire station that's going up. The man is into detail. He knows his carpet, I'll tell you that. The color. I'm very impressed with Chris. The fire department is in good hands. This is Canton Township. Congratulations, Chris.
Okay. Thank you.
Call for the roll call vote.
Anthony.
Yes.
Foster.
Aye.
Graham Hudek.
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens.
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye.
Williams.
Yes, aye. Congratulations, Chief. Moving on now, final item on the agenda, which is item G12. Consider approval of Merit Commission recommendation for compensating merit employees from August 9th, 2020 through January 31st, 2020, or until the township resumes full operations.
Mr. Supervisor, I move to approve the Merit Commission's recommendation to adopt a compensation plan for merit employees beginning August 9, 2020. The plan will remain in place until January 31, 2021, or until township resumes normal operations of all departments, whichever comes first.
Support.
Okay, in terms of a summary, on July 23rd, 2020, the Merit Commission approved recommendations to execute compensation plan beginning August 9, 2020. This plan shall be in place until the township opens and resumes full operations of all departments, or until January 31st, 2021, whichever comes first. Under this plan, merit employees who were previously taking a 40% furlough will now take a 20% furlough. Employees in the 20% furlough will be required to furlough 8 hours a week and use up to 8 hours of PTO comp per week and work at least 24 hours a week as directed by their supervisor to meet the needs of the township. Merit employees who were previously taking the 20% furlough will now take 10% furlough. Employees in the 10% furlough will be required to furlough 4 hours per week and work a minimum of 24 hours per week. Employees in this group will also be scheduled to work or may take PTO for the remainder of the hours for each week as directed and approved by their immediate supervisor. Employees in both the 20% and 10% furlough units will be allowed to use PTO hours instead of taking required time. Employees will also be allowed to go negative in the PTO balance up to a maximum of 60 hours to cover the required PTO each week. Employees who go out on short-term disability while under this plan will be paid no more than active employees in their respective work share unit. Standard benefits will reflect the same percentage reduction as active employees in the work share units with the same PTO requirements as the active employees in their work share unit. Merit employees will be required to continue to be flexible in their work schedules and locations to meet the needs of the township during the furlough period. Merit employees have done an outstanding job meeting the challenges faced by our organization during these unprecedented times. And I very much appreciate all the different working groups, Merit, the unions coming together for us. And there's been a tremendous amount of work behind the scenes by their leadership and Corrine to get us to this point. So do we have any specific questions at this time or comments that anybody would like to make? Do we have any audience raised hands out there, Mike?
Don't see anything, no.
Nothing from the public?
Participation in the meeting has dwindled.
Yeah. They're leaving us. They're leaving us.
Covered a lot of ground today, guys.
Half of them are candidates for trustee, which is good to see.
Emery, did you want to make a comment?
Thanks again, also, as said before, for all the work groups coming to the table and coming. Now, I didn't say in this RBA, but this is covered under the same program, correct? The work funded by the state. Okay. Okay, yes. Great. Thank you. No, thank you very much. Good job. Good job, everyone.
No other comments or questions at this time. We'll call a vote on the item.
Anthony.
Yes.
Foster.
Aye.
Graham Hudak.
Aye.
Segrist. Aye. Slavens.
Aye.
Snyderman.
Yeah.
Williams.
Aye. Okay, now would be the point in our agenda that completes our formal agenda for the evening. Is there anybody from staff that would like to make a quick comment or update that the board should be aware of, or the public may need to be aware of? Okay, go ahead, Chad.
I just want to thank everyone for this opportunity. I represent some great public servants, some of the best, and just so you know, we will stay focused on setting the standard for progressive policing. And again, we love our community, and this is a great place to be, and I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, just like, I didn't want to make a comment earlier because I didn't want to be out of order before you guys voted on me getting the position, but I just really want to thank you for your support over the 24 years that I've been here. It's a great community to work for. I grew up in the community, went to the high school here. I've spent my entire life here. I know that we've accomplished some great things over the years, and I look forward to accomplishing more great things working with you, being elected officials, as well as the other leadership group. Proven this past week and this past couple of weeks as we've moved through these contracts and the LOAs. And I know that we're in unprecedented times, and that the men and women that I'm going to be leading over here are the best of the best. And you guys have always made it a point of taking care of those employees and bringing the best employees in. So it's a privilege to lead them through these times. I know that the community is very blessed to have that. And we're very blessed to have the community that supports us as well. So thank you again for your support, and I appreciate it, and look forward to serving with you.
Thank you, Chief. All right. At this time, is there any additional staff comments?
Where's the staff? Do we have it?
Go ahead, Trustee Emery.
Oh no, just so next week we're not meeting because it's voting day. So get everybody out, vote, vote, vote. We're almost there.
Any additional final comments from the board? Hey, Diane.
Yeah, I just want to, I just want to thank all of the employees and Corinne for the letter of agreement. You know, times are tough right now, and I just appreciate them coming to an agreement because we have great staff. And we just want to make sure everybody's okay. And we want to make sure that the community's moving forward. So I just appreciate all the hard work over the past week that's been done. So I just want to thank you and congratulations again to our fire chief and police chief.
Okay, Michael?
I'll just take this opportunity to let everybody know we did install a drive-up ballot drop box that you all approved. Thank you very much for that. It looks very fancy. We went with the traditional model and as the design logo, and of course, the first vehicle that used it was an old Hudson from the 1950s. So it was a pretty cool shot that made its way onto social media for the kind of just the announcement of the ballot drop box in operation. It is being used already, so that's exciting to see. Finally, some of those ballots are making their way back. We put out a record number, 25,000 ballots. We are at roughly 40% received back, which means we've got some work to do in the next week, but we're up to the challenge. We're excited about it. And thank you all for your support, both the administrative staff and the Board of Trustees. We would not have made it this far without all of you. And I know that, so I'm extremely grateful.
Very good. All right, thank you, guys. That concludes our phone meeting. Call for a motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote to conclude the meeting.
Anthony.
Yes.
Foster.
Aye.
Graham Hudek.
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens.
Aye.
Simon.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye. That concludes our formal agenda. Everybody be safe. Have a good night.